My name is Fredius Salmon Mijai from Edukea Tanzania. Today I'm going to teach History 2 Advanced level. And we will start with the first topic, which is the rise of capitalism in Europe. Our topic comprises 5 subtopics. The first one is transition from feudalism to agrarian revolution. The second one is the rise of mercantilism. The third one is African contribution to the rise of capitalism in Europe and in North America. The fourth one is the rise of demographic revolution and scientific revolution. And the last one is industrial revolution. So today we are going to look to the first subtopic, which is transition from feudalism to agrarian revolution. So before looking to the capitalism or the rise of capitalism in Europe, we have to start or to trace back the development of feudalism. So that's why here I have written that the rise of capitalism in Europe cannot be started without tracing back shortly about the development of feudalism in Europe, as the collapse of feudalism gave the way for the rise of capitalism. So after the collapse of feudalism, that brought the chance for the capitalism to take place. So what is feudalism? First of all, we have to know the definition of feudalism. Feudalism was the third mode of production in mankind, in which the land was owned by the landlords, who gained payments from their tenants in form of rents. Means feudalism was the third mode of production in which the land owned by the landlords and gained payments from their tenants or serfs or peasants in form of rent. And there were 3 rent: rent in kind, money, and labor. So this mode of production, which is feudalism, existed between 9th to 15th centuries in Europe. It means it took place almost 6 centuries in Europe. This mode of production involved 2 groups, which is the landlords and the serfs or tenants or peasants. The landlords were those who owned the land, and the tenants or peasants or serfs are the people who were working on that land or small strips of the land. These tenants or serfs or peasants who were working in the strips of the land, and they are paying the land to their landlords. So after seeing the definition, periodization of feudalism and the groups which were involved in that mode of production, let us see the problems that faced the agriculture under the open field system. Open field system. What is open field system? Open field system was the farming system in Europe in which peasants worked on small strips of the land for production. Means peasants were working on the small strips of the land for production of agricultural products. So let us see the problems that faced the agriculture during or under the open field system in Europe. And those problems are: the first one, low production. Low production in which sense? Means the peasants or tenants were using crude tools in production that could not bring the high production of products. They used tools like hand hoes, which can be used to cultivate a small piece of land, and no high products can be harvested after the cultivation of that land. And the second point or second problem that faced the agriculture under open field system was land fragmentation problem. It means during that mode of production, the land was divided into smaller pieces of land, and those small pieces of land were given to the peasants or tenants to work on them. It means that it could be difficult for them to practice large-scale agriculture for production of high yields. So that's why occurred as a problem, the land to be fragmented. And the third point is poor land tenure system. It means that the poor land tenure system, it means the land division was unequal, where the huge land were given to the churches, landlords, and the monarch people, and the rest of land, that small land, were given to the peasant or serfs for production, in which that land could not satisfy the high production, so it became as a problem. Means the distribution of land was small or was unequal. Means the large land were given to the landlords, kings, and churches. That land were uncultivatable and were not productive because were owned by those people. And the small area that meant that the peasants or tenants were working on it, and the small production were occurred. The fourth problem was exploitative feudal laws. It means that the feudal lords come up with laws which make the serfs or tenants to be limited with their freedom in production of high products or main products. This led to the limited products to satisfy the number of people during that system. So the system became suffering from that problem, and then it collapsed. The fifth one was Black Death. Black Death was the death that killed many people during the feudal system in Europe at that time, where landlords, tenants, peasants were dead. And that led to the production to slump down, so it could not satisfy the needs of people according to the production which were taking place by that time. The sixth one was civil wars and revolts. We have to remember that during that mode of production, which is feudalism, the tenants and peasants were exploited and oppressed by the landlords. So they acted, or they undergone various revolts and wars against their landlords to go against with their exploitation and oppression. So in that sense, feudal modes of production got that problem. And the last one, which is the use of primitive means of production. This point looks like the first point, but it is different. This one is low production, and this is the use of primitive means of production. Here we look on the tools which were used in production. I mean, they used the tradition or primitive tools in production that could give low products or agricultural products by that time. Transition from feudalism to capitalism. Here we're going to see the transition from feudalism to capitalism. Before that, we have to see the definition of capitalism. Capitalism is a socio-economic and political system where major means of production like land, capital, banks, industries, machines, plantations, and insurance companies are held on the hands of few individuals or capitalists or bourgeoisie. It means that capitalism is, because even now it is going on, capitalism is social and economic system in which the major means of production, which include lands, capital, machines, plantations, insurance companies, and banks, are owned in the few hands of people who are capitalists or bourgeoisie, those who own those things or major means of production. And it was started in the 15th century and gained its momentum in 19th century. It means after the collapse of feudalism in the 15th century, that gave the way for capitalism to take place in the 15th century, but it gained momentum soon after the 19th century. The rise of capitalism was due to the collapse of feudalism. It means that the rise of capitalism was caused by the collapse of feudalism in Europe. So we have seen the definition of capitalism and the major means of production which are owned by the capitalists or bourgeoisie or few individuals, which are banks, industries, machines, plantations, insurance companies, and capital. So we are going to see the factors for the rise of capitalism in Europe, factors that led to the rise of capitalism in Europe. The first one was agrarian revolution. Agrarian revolution. The second one was commercial revolution. The third one was scientific revolution. The fourth one was demographic revolution. The fifth one was Black Death or bubonic plague. The sixth one is primitive accumulation of capital. Another one was political revolution. Another was growth of towns, and the last but not least, development of monetary economy. So after seeing or after mentioning those factors that led to the rise of capitalism in Europe, I'm going to explain one after another. By starting with agrarian revolution. What is agrarian revolution? Agrarian revolution refers to the fundamental changes took place in agricultural sector in Europe that revolutionized the management and the production in agriculture through modernization and abandoning the traditional open field system. It means that agrarian revolution involves or refers to the changes that took place in Europe and revolutionized or threw out the traditional open field system that were taking place in the feudal model of production. It means here the agriculture has come into being by using various modern methods of agriculture, the use of fertilizers, and the other things. Agrarian revolution started in the mid of 16th century in Netherlands and spread to Britain and other nations. Here we come to see that agrarian revolution started in Netherlands or Holland, and the time as went on spread to Britain. Agrarian revolution had two phases. The first phase from 16th to 18th century that took place during pre-industrial revolution. You have to notice that the first phase from 16th to 18th century occurred during pre-industrial revolution, and the second phase from 18th century up to 19th century during the Industrial Revolution. We will see various nations that took place, that undergone agrarian revolution in this period and this period, the second phase. There is a question here.